Okay, well, welcome back to Dread Central, and thanks for giving us a little bit of time today.
Amazing. Happy to be here.
So congrats on the 50th anniversary of Young and the Restless, the special episodes. When did you know you were going to be a part of this major event?
About 2 months ago or so, they've asked me to come back a few times over the years. I played the character for 6 years, a long time ago, and I've come back periodically. But I was living in San Francisco for the last 20 years, so it made it a little bit difficult to come back and forth. And I haven't been on the show in I think 14 years. So I've recently moved back to Los Angeles, and I was seeing online that the 50th anniversary of the show was coming up. So knowing that they've had me back in the past and they've asked me, and a couple times I wasn't able to do it, I asked my agent to call them and say, listen, I've moved back to LA and I understand you're doing the 50th anniversary episodes. I would love to be a part of it if you guys are interested. And they immediately wrote back and said, yes, we're interested and let us get back to you. And then I got an offer to be on 7 episodes.
Oh, wow, so it's 7 episodes. I'm wondering about the character, Leanna Love. What motivates her and what does she like to be around?
Soap operas are very interesting because characters can morph and grow and degrade many times over the course of a storyline or a lifetime. When I first was on the show, my character was in love with a character named Stephen Lassiter, and he was the boyfriend of a very much beloved character, Ashley Abbott,
Hmm.
played by Eileen Davidson. When I was first on the show 30 years ago or so, I came on and tried to kill Ashley. And I was only supposed to be on the show for a few episodes, a couple of months, but they liked my character enough that they said, oh, we'd like to have you around a little bit longer. So we're going to have to redeem you a bit because I can't be a killer and be on the show. So my character went from having a borderline personality with bouts of psychosis into being just kind of eccentric. And she mentally got better. And then she became an advice columnist, a journalist, and she had her own talk show. And
Hmm.
she subsequently wrote a book about Victor Newman entitled Ruthless. And that was done because Ashley's brother, um, uh, what's his name? Abbott. Help me, Ashley. Um,
Jack.
Jack Abbott. Thank you. Um, Wanted me to get back at Victor Newman for some wrongs having been done on him. And the show is very much about the business world. And so I wrote this book, Ruthless, about Victor Newman. And then subsequently, he fell in love with me and we got married. But then he found out I wrote the bad book about him because I wrote it under a pen name. And then he divorced me. And of course, I was really sorry that I wrote the book. So, the character's been with a few different people on the show. She was also involved with Quinn Rediker's character. Quinn was one of the writers on The Deer Hunter, and he passed away just recently. But he was a longtime favorite on the show, and I was also paired up with him for a while and sort of breaking up the relationship of Mrs. Chancellor, who was played by Jeannie Cooper. So fans of The Young and the Restless will know all of these characters because they're a lot of fan favorites.
Well,
Um,
yeah, it's nice to know that people can change, even for the better.
yes.
So that's great.
Mhm.
But I'm
And
curious.
yeah, recently when I came
Mhm.
back, uh, they had me, in a broad sense, come back and as a journalist again,
Yeah.
reporting on what was happening in Genoa City. That's the town
Mhm.
that Young and the Restless takes place in.
Well, that makes me very curious as a journalist. How do you prepare to play a journalist? How do you get into that?
Oh, that's so interesting. What a great question. How do I get into that? I am kind of a journalist in real life because I have a column in Fangoria magazine called Scene Queen. So I've done that a little bit for a while. So I am used to interviewing people as well and talking to them and trying to extrapolate what they're saying into some sort of a story that is interesting and makes sense and illuminates the inner workings or the inner character of whoever I'm talking to. So I
Mhm.
am kind of used to that. And also, I think um, being an actor isn't that different from being a journalist in the way that you have to sort of investigate things and understand a story and why people do the things that they do and report on that. So the difference as an actor is that you are writing down things, but I'm acting that stuff out. So, it's different platforms, but it's almost relaying the same kind of information.
How are horror fans and soap opera fans different, or are they more similar than I'd imagine?
They're both very voracious. They don't really have conventions for comedies or thrillers, or maybe they do a little bit for science fiction or for Star Trek and things like that. But there's a lot of conventions, as we know, for horror movies. And also, they have a lot of get togethers for soap opera fans. And I think both fans in both groups are really voracious and also um, very loyal to their characters and their shows and the things that mean something to them. I've gone online recently to look up what people are saying about The Young and the Restless and some other soaps. And there was a lot of magazines, although we don't have as many in print as we do today, even in with horror magazines. There's still a lot of online content and online websites dedicated to soap operas. And there's some fans who have been watching for 50 years.
Mhm.
Uh, so I think the characters that they care about um, feel very beloved to them as the same as they do in horror movies.
When you're at the grocery store, are you more likely to be approached for your film work or your television work?
It depends. It kind of goes back and forth, and it depends on where you are. Living up in San Francisco for the last 20 years, I would say more people up there noticed me from the soap opera work. But when I come down to Los Angeles or if I'm in a city, I think I notice more, maybe because there's just more people around, that I do get recognized for some of my film work. And horror fans are, there's a lot of movie fans in LA. So I meet more people in Los Angeles and say New York City that are horror movie fans.
Who of your peers, when you were reconnected for these episodes, were you the most emotional to sort of be reunited with?
You know, um, I would say, I mean, I'm still very friendly with Tracy Bregman, who's on the show. And so it was really nice to be in some scenes with her and have some dialogue with her. And also on the very first day, the very first time that I'm going to air, um, Peter Bergman, who plays Jack Abbott now, and he has played it for many, many years. When I started, it was Terry Lester, and now it's Peter Bergman. He's so identifiable with that character. It was really great to have some scenes with him and actually talk to him. And I did feel kind of the old relationship that my character had with him reignited a little bit. Um, and also the character of Victor Newman and the character of Nikki Newman, those actors, just being in scenes with them, and basically they have me in scenes with everybody all throughout the 7 episodes. I think I talked to almost every single character in the show, which was really cool, and a lot of amazing young people as well. I think I started on that show when I was 27, And I'd say maybe there's 10 or 12 people from the past that are still there, that have been there for 30 or 40 years. I think Tracy Bregman just celebrated her 40th year. And then they brought some other people back who are not on the show all the time, like me. And then I don't know, there was like 15 new people. And I worked with a lot of them, and they were really great in their scenes. The thing about working in soap operas that I forgot, but I quickly remembered, was that they do 60 pages a day, especially on the Young and
Well,
the Restless, because it's an hour show. And they
yeah.
have multiple cameras. So you have to come performance ready. There's
Yeah.
no time to work on the scenes or talk with the director about your motivation. You kind of just have to come in, and it's sink or swim, and
Yeah.
you have to just be completely ready. You have to know your lines really well. You have to, in the makeup room, have maybe said it to your scene partners a few times, and you basically go out and have a quick camera rehearsal, and then you film it, and then that's it, and you have to move on. So it's a little daunting, and it's not a muscle that I've been using over the past many years. Working in film, you get a little bit more time,
Mhm.
but I think I was able to access that and just know that I had to be ready. And I hope I did as well as all the other people on the show who were doing it all the time.
I'm sure you did. My last question for you today is what's next for you in the world of horror?
Well, I did a few movies this past year that'll be coming out this coming year. Um, One is called Last Stop in Yuma County, and another is called Blackout, and that's with Larry Fessenden, directed
Hmm.
that. And then I did, of course, Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls that premiered at Sundance. And the one that I have the most direct input on is Suitable Flesh, directed by Joe Lynch, starring Heather Graham and myself and a lot of other horror luminaries. And it's based on a short story by H.P. Lovecraft called The Thing on the Doorstep. But that's not really a good title for a movie. So we changed it to Suitable Flesh,
Hmm.
because it's about an entity that travels through time and takes over different people's bodies. And I produced that, and I'm an actor in it as well.
Amazing. I'm excited to cover all of it. And congrats on this special. I'll have to check it out.
Thank you so much.